You are T. Who are we? You are T. Who are we? You are T. Who are we? Boy, oh boy, oh boy. That was painful at times, people. That was painful at times. Big up to everybody. Welcome to United Real Therapy. How are we feeling? 13th for a season where we belong, mate. Yeah. Yeah. Big up Luani.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, man. That looks like the workshop, man. That looks like the workshop.
Yeah, I'm in my garage today.
Yeah, it's in the garage, man. The workshop. I can see the tools. Big up to you, bro.
Big up to you. How's the stadium?
No, I didn't go to the game today. I didn't go, man.
You did watch it on TV though, right?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
Nice.
But it was, boy. I'm glad that I didn't. I'm glad I didn't go. Listen, give me your instant match reaction.
Well, before the game, actually, I was watching a pre-match interview for Ruud van Nistelrooy, and the journalist was asking him if the incoming manager Amorim have any tactical input or any personnel input in what was going to happen today, and his response was no, that the higher hierarchy made it known to everybody that Amorim is not taking over until 2 weeks, and then he is going to be the man in charge. The players knows that, the staff knows that. I'm glad he clarified that, but the reason I brought that up is because what I watched today, if that's what Ruud van Nistelrooy is about, then I'm glad that he's just there for only a week or two. Because to be honest, I was not expecting any tactical change, but at least in terms of personnel, I was expecting him to show a little bit more, to kind of show the style that he wants to play in terms of his personnel selection. But with that front four of Garnacho, Bruno, Rasmus, Rashford, I don't know, man. I don't know if we're going to be able to sustain anything in terms of consistency in the Premier League with that. We can't score any goals with the amount of touch that we have in the Chelsea's penalty box today, especially Garnacho. I'm expecting at least, us to score a few goals, at least make the keeper work. But it didn't happen. He keeps scoffing his shots, and the lack of quality in our front forward is baffling. This is the game that was there today for the taking. Chelsea didn't play well at all, and I was expecting us to win that game as it was going on, but it's the lack of quality that betrayed us today. But in general, when looking at special kudos to Mazraoui, he was our man of the match today. And something that a lot of people don't bring up is, I know we've been criticizing Onana a lot, but after watching the Tottenham, I was watching Aston Villa and Tottenham, and after watching the Tottenham goalkeeper flapping out and conceding a goal that way, I would like to give credit to Onana, because we don't talk enough about the fact that he can command his box. Yes, he made one. He came out once and he kind of mishandled the ball a little bit, but in general, I like what I see from him in terms of commanding his box on the set pieces. Is something I think that it's a positive with him, and we don't give him enough credit about. As for the rest, we can work. He can work his way up in the league. But in general, that's what I saw about the game, Noruddin. It was not a high quality game from both teams, but we know what to expect from our team. We know we super direct. We don't like to play with the ball. and having Ugarte and Casemiro in the midfield, um, there is no way we are going to build through that midfield. We very limited when it comes to that, and hopefully Amorim was watching, and from what I'm seeing, if we don't spend a lot of money in the future to change that front four, or at least address the fact that we need a six that can receive the ball on the half turn from our center back, is going to be a very, very, very difficult rebuild. That's my take on that.
Yeah, big up. Big up Khalid from Lassie. Make sure you check him out at Khalid from Lassie on Twitter. Very active on Twitter. Manchester United missed 24 big chances in the Premier League season, the most by any club. Masraoui, 33 passes completed, 13 dribbles, won 6 tackles, won 5 dribbles completed, 2 interceptions, 2 clearances. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, he was by far. Stood out. Absolutely. Yeah. Some people have it, some people don't. For me, Garnacho is like, he wants to be this hero. He wants to be this hero, doesn't he? He wants to be the match winner. No. Could have passed twice, 3 times, could have passed the play the ball. And then he had our best chances. Actually, when we worked the opportunity, we worked it to him. And he just scuffed it both times. Yes. Yeah, Roy Keane waffling the same as usual. Big up Paul Scholes. It was a difficult game to watch. That was an awful, a lot of quality in the match. Other than 2-moment draw was a fair result. Yeah, we see that. Big up people. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We keep it raw and real here. You're getting your instant match reaction. I thought the first half, Chelsea were a better team. I thought second half, we come into it. And then the 10 minutes, we tried to rally the last 10 minutes, but by then it was too late for me. I do agree. Garnacho should have been the guy come off other than Rashford, because I thought with a bit Rashford and Ahmad offering a bit of different balance than Garnacho and Ahmad. But the decision-making on Garnacho sometimes was absolutely criminal. But who's coaching him? Who's coaching him, showing the video clips again and again and saying, listen, lad, here, you pass that. You don't just shoot, you pass there. Like, the Mazraoui could have made a brilliant overlap. He didn't play him. Ahmad, it's just a straight ball. Ahmad is there. Just tap it to him. It's just a tap, like, on the outside of the foot. And Ahmad is through one-on-one. So it is what it is.
You see, Nuruddin, if a player want to play that way, I don't have an issue with it. The issue that I have is with the coach on the sideline that's looking at that. He's watching us, watching that, and at the 60-minute or half, if you don't want to speak to him at halftime, at least at the 60-minute or 70-minute mark, make the switch, bring Rashford to the left and take him off and bring Amash to the right. Because with the amount of space Garnacho was seeing and with the amount of chances he was having in the box, I bet you if Rashford, as much as I don't rate him, he can strike the ball properly. You know, if he have any of those shots on goal, we could be talking a different game. You know, so my grievance is with Ruud van Nistelrooy, with the changes he made. He didn't. We see at halftime when Maresca noticed that he was not going well with Gusto, he switched him up for Cucurella right away at halftime. You know, as a coach, you want to make changes that affect the game, and you want to make them quick. But Garnacho was on the pitch for 90 minutes, and his end product was bad, and that's why I'm looking forward to Amorim. He's looking at this situation, and I hope he's more of a proactive coach instead of being a reactive coach. So,
yeah, totally. Big up, Letho. Big up to you, bro. Talk to me. How did you see the game? Boring. Snooze drug. Talk to me.
Yeah, man, what can we say? But I did say that we're not gonna lose. You know, I knew that, you know, experience of the manager bounce. We've never turned to lose our second game, with a new manager in charge. So, yeah, the game was just boring. It was lackluster. Both teams, I think both teams just lack quality. I think we actually deteriorated Chelsea's quality in that game somehow, some way, tactically. That's what I think we did, because Chelsea played to our level instead of the level that they're used to. If the same Chelsea that played against Liverpool pitched up today, then it would have been different. But I somehow think that tactically we did reduce them to our level, where I saw both teams could have nicked the game. So it was not a thing where I could say that Man United deserved to win or Chelsea deserved to win throughout. So yeah, it is what it is. But we said that this is gonna take a while. The manager is gonna come through soon. Anyways, it's confirmed. So he's gonna walk through. He's gonna have to come through and then see which players he may need to work with for the long term, and those he needs to phase out, because he's got a job. He's got a huge job at hand. I saw a lack of quality from both sides today. And for me, especially when you look at the front three, it's an indictment to say that they haven't been coached. There's no coaching that has been happening, because when a manager leaves, usually you see what they were trying to do previously. You could see that previously, in terms of the coaching, this is what he was trying to do and and then the other manager comes through, whether it's an interim or whatever, there's still a blueprint left that's still there. So it's an indictment to Ten Hag that there was absolutely nothing happening there. There was nothing happening there. You could not see any strains of what is left. You couldn't see any strains of what he left behind. And that's coaching. This is what we've been preaching. The basics need to be done first. I think we need to look at that. The basics need to be done before we even bring in players through or whatever. The basics need to be got right. I'm not with this thing where we're saying that a manager needs to come in, basically come in and then has to get his own player before we see an identity. No ways. No ways. Van Gaal came in and used the development players that we had, and he had them playing the same way that we were playing. He used the current players that we may have still had left, and they still played the same way. People forget Johnny Evans was still there when Van Gaal was there. So I'm not having this where a manager now has to come in and then you have to wait until he gets his own player. No, you have to implement. You have to have somewhat of a blueprint. I'm not saying that he has to 100% get it right, but he has to have a blueprint as to what we have to see. So judging by today, that's the conclusion I got, that Ten Hag has been here and he has been doing absolutely nonsense. We have not seen any sort of progress in terms of the coaching, and it's an indictment on his reign at the football club. And right now, Ruud is just trying to manage things as they are. And he's trying to just manage things until the next manager comes in. Definitely Amorim will come in and he'll have to implement what he has to implement and somewhat try and get results. And at the same time, try and get this team for working together, because you can see that obviously in terms of quality, we lack a little bit. But in terms of coaching, it's on an entire new level. There is absolutely no coaching at any level at this football club, and we need that desperately. And today's result, it's a fair one. Both teams had clear-cut chances where they could have did something with the results. Chelsea hit the post. Rashford also came close as well. If he had kept his shot down, Garnacho had ample of chances as well. Equally so, Chelsea also had the opportunity to. So it's the draw is a fair result. I think everyone can agree on this. A draw is a fair result tonight, and I think we did the best in what we could do. You can't blame Ruud, you can't blame anyone else. we need to just go back to the basics and back to the drawing board, and we need to implement simple changes. And tell you what, if we do that, I'd say it's a good start in the right direction going forward. But yeah, in terms of the best player, Mazarawi for me. Mazarawi had a stellar of a game. He's forever. Mazarawi is very consistent, and he's one of the very much more consistent players that we've had at the club. And we saw it from his first game that he didn't even take that time to adapt. His Champions League quality. You can see that he can play for any Champions League team at the moment. So I honestly can't wait to see what Amorim does with this team and how he plays with the system. Whether he plays with the 3-5-2 formation or he plays with the 3-4. It doesn't matter. I just want to see him implement something that leads to sustainability. That's all I want to see.
Yeah, big up, bro. Bumbaye, big up for joining us. Obviously, it's a bit of a snooze fest. What did you think about the game? What did you see? Anything to take encouragement?
Good evening,
Big up
all.
to you. How are you doing, first of all? How's family?
Good evening.
Yeah, good, bro. Good. Nothing to complain about here. Thank God. Yeah, it wasn't a great game. I caught the tail end of what Les was saying. Mazraoui, man of the match. He's got a heart big enough for all of the players. So I thought he was really good. I was in and out of the game, to be honest. But Garnacho was starting to anger me. I'm starting to get a little bit fed up now. This isn't amateur hour. This is Man United left wing. It's ridiculous. Get your head up, pass the ball. You're a professional player, man. Always the wrong decisions, playing like a child. I'm not. He needs to take a sit down. Rashford on the left. Diallo should start, man. What's he done wrong? I don't understand. Is there something wrong in training? Are we not seeing? Makes complete sense. Start the boy. Every time he's played, he's performed. He's done well. Looks after the ball. When he's running at plays, he looks dangerous. He's got good feet. Looks after the ball. Works hard. Take this Garnacho off, man. It's ridiculous, but yeah, I mean, under the circumstance, I didn't take too much from this game. It wasn't, we're still watching Man United. It's not gonna change overnight. Didn't think, can't really say anything about Rude. I love Rude. I hope he can be part of this going forward. And the lads are playing knowing that there's a new manager coming in 2 more games, so there's not a lot we can take from this.
Yeah, definitely. This is why it was strange. When we did the match preview, it was really strange because there's not the level of same expectation and intensity, because we're all waiting for this manager to start. And Rude is trying to do his best. Rude helped to coach this team for the past 3 months, and I didn't really see anything different, to be fair. And I thought I thought he got his substitution wrong today. I thought he should have took off Garnacho, correct, and kept Rashford on the football pitch.
100%, 100,000,000%.
Yeah.
Do you guys think of Joshua Zirkzee at the moment?
I think he's a player short of confidence, but I let Luane come in. But I think he's just a player who's trying to get used to get his. Listen, Manchester United is a mess of a football club, man. You're a young player. You've changed leagues. You try to come in, and it's chaos.
Yeah,
there's fucking chaos. So anybody will find it difficult. Go ahead, Luani, and then we'll go to Lesser.
Yeah, when it comes to Joshua Zirkzee, like Norodin said, I think it's a lack of confidence, but he's a little heavy. That's for sure. But the issue we have in our forward line is a balance issue, right? We have all 4 of our strikers, our forward line, are the same profile. Rashford, Garnacho, Haaland. They don't play ball to feet. They run away from the ball. So it's up to the coach to find the right balance. So if you play in Zirkzee, I guess you have to play Ahmad on the right. For the And the God of me, I don't know why at any point in time he didn't think of taking off Garnacho out today and switching Rashford to the left. But it might also be a cultural thing because I think we are trapped as a football club. We are trapped a bit in the past because of how exciting we used to be, how attacking our lineup used to be with Ronaldo and Rooney and Tevez. We used to be quite direct, and it seemed to me that football is a bit passing us by, and we still try to reproduce um, that style. But unfortunately, if you want to be a direct team, you have to be very clinical at the other end. When I watched Liverpool yesterday, Brighton took the game away from them, but they only need two chances, and it was bang bang, two chances, two goal, and they took the momentum back. We are not clinical enough um, to be to be that direct. So it's up to the coach to find the right balance. If you know you're going to play Xerxes and mainly ask him to drop in the middle and have runners on both sides, at least balance it up a little bit by bringing in Ahmad on the other side. Because we know Garnacho and Rashford got the ball. They are now going to take the wing, their fullback on the outside and cross it in for him. It's not going to happen, and they're not going to do any cutback. They just cut in and shoot. That's all they can do. So for Xerxes, it might be a bit difficult right now, but hopefully Amorim can come in, identify the kind of profile that can play with him. But I imagine if you're talking about him, you can directly compare him to Rasmus. He's better on the ball than Rasmus, but Rasmus is more of a nuisance to defenders. So it's going to depend on the coach, Amorim, and how he's going to select the team around Xerxes that can, that can make him better, or it's going to be a bust for him. That's
This guy, guys, what did we sign in Ugarte? Like, what do you guys see? I've never watched him in my life. I don't know.
I actually think I genuinely don't. I actually
What's his
think that
job?
he would to win the ball back. To win the ball back, and I actually thought he did quite well today.
Yeah,
I thought in a difficult game, he's not been playing league games. He's only been playing the cup games and some of the Europa League games. So for his first match, playing against two fantastic midfielders, by the way, Caicedo was by far the best player on the football pitch today. Other than in the game, I thought him and Lavia were brilliant, and that's why I look 100 million guy. Enzo Fernandes is holding bench.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Enzo Fernandes is holding bench because Caicedo and Lavia, their partnership is fantastic. So at the end of the day, I just saw what I saw, that he's not a ball playing guy. He's more of a positional number six. He's not even a positional number six. He's a ball hunting six. That's what he does. If you want to talk to, he's a ball hunting six. He's not a positional guy who's going to look after this space. He's not that. He's somebody who chases people, gets hold of the ball. But if you got a very good outfit in midfield that can really pass the ball at first time, then you're going to struggle. Pick up Indiana, by the way, for joining us.
No, that's the issue we have. We need to stay away from those one-dimensional players. I don't think he's Premier League level, to be honest with you. When I watch teams like Brighton play with a midfielder like Baleba, who can literally take
he's
the
good.
ball. He can do both. He can
He's
take
good.
the ball. He can cover ground, and he can also play between the line. I watched Tottenham play with a Pape Matesa, and I'm looking at Ugarte. There have to be at least a minimum of him being able to take the ball and build up play, but he doesn't seem good at that at all. So I don't think he could be seen in the long run as a midfielder for us if we want to challenge for top four, because we need better quality. That's my take.
Man, I don't know. I kind of just look at Ugarte. Game is just passing him by. I'm not sure what he's what he's gonna do, and what
I think
happens
you're
when
being a bit too harsh. I really think it's been a bit too harsh.
what
I think
happens
that he needs
when Kobe Mainoo's back, bro? What
I
happens
think
when
he needs
Kobe
to
Mainoo's
develop.
back? What's the team?
I think that the Premier League is a tough league to adapt to. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie
yeah.
to you.
So far, I'm
In
talking.
a chaos, in a
So
him and
far.
Xerxes, to question them both, it's
Yeah.
really early. There are players who've been here for fucking 3 to 4, 5
No,
years.
I'm
basketball
They
a
need
bit
is
fucking
concerned by a
questioning.
complaint, by the way. Like,
is
why are we
what I'm asking.
complaining about
What
that?
you see? Like when you're watching, what do you see? This Xerxes has some quality. I really liked him straight away. Ugarte, I watch him. That's what I'm asking. What are you guys seeing? And how does he fit into the vision of Man United when Kobe Mainoo's back? What happens then? Who's going to play?
I struggle with that question. Let me tell you why I struggle with that question. Because we've watched for a number of years McFred in the midfield with no options. And now we're complaining that there are different options in the midfield and there's different routes a manager can take in terms of the
No
way he wants.
complaints. It's just an inquisition, like you
Yeah,
thinking about it. You know.
I don't think it matters. I think we've brought in a lot of players that we're not going to see the best of yet. Does that make sense? That player like Xerxes, I think he's a tidy footballer. Will
Very.
he make it? But I don't know. But
Yeah,
we won't. I think he's a slow burner. Does that make sense? I think we'll see the best of him in 12 months if we're going to see anything from him.
Yeah.
I think he's
No,
that type of player. But
I'm actually of that sentiment. I'm actually of that sentiment because, when you build a squad, you don't build a squad of players of similarities, quality. You build people who are able to do things that other people can't do. In terms of being flexible, in terms of how you set up your team. You want players who specialize in certain things that other players cannot do. So if you maybe, let's say, for example, you want to play a more attacking style of football, where you want to hold possession, where you want to be a possession-based team, you want a certain type of you want certain types of midfielders, right? Your six is going to be different to what an Ugarte is going to be. So that's why when you look at it, even at PSG, he was second choice as a result of that because in terms of Enrique, the way he plays, he plays a possession-based style of football. When we play more or less, I would say more transitional style of football where we are a low block team, where we counter attack. Ugarte fills that system perfectly because we need legs. When these teams get behind, you need legs. You need people who are gonna work hard. You need people who are gonna do the dirty jobs for you, like Sir Alex used to do with Jason Park away from home in the Champions League. He was always prominent in that. He used to come through and do the dirty job that most of these midfielders would not do. He used to disturb players. Even against Barcelona, he used to do the same thing. So I think having a player of that like Ugarte is actually essential because it gives you options. It gives you that type of different midfield options that any other team may not have. And it's an advantage. It's an advantage in that sense that he can play a role in that sense. Noradine, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. Big up. Let me just come back to you in a minute. Big up, Indiana. Welcome, bro. Thanks for joining us. Big up, Jarvis. Always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Hope you both well. Alex says Højlund is trash. I don't think he's trash, but that's your opinion. But of course, this racist fan base will get onto Xerxes, who's miles better than him in his first season. Xerxes for me started off really good. Crystal Palace by far was the most outstanding performance. Then he's had a dip, but I don't blame him. I don't blame him because Manchester United are trash. And like
I think it's unfair on him today. Can I be honest? I think it was unfair on him today to judge him. So one of the issues that I have is, especially when you play top teams, the game opens up for the last 10 minutes. And they're obviously managing Højlund, and Rashford's got a problem for me. If you look at the substitutions, normally on the hour mark, he did a little bit more today. I think time's being managed there. But these players are more direct and explosive players. So the game's opened up, and then Xerxes got that. If that ball that came to him falls to Rashford or Højlund, they beat the guy for pace, right? Let's be clear. That more than likely happens. But people are going to see what happened with Xerxes there, and they're going to go, he's not the guy, because they'll see that as a massive opportunity. And I think it's unfair to judge him at certain moments in games. Like we said, he's going to have to adapt to the league and adapt to the team, what have you, and he might be a slow burner. But if that falls to a more explosive player, we don't judge them like that because they get in on goal. I think there's a real sort of common misconception that any manager can come in and coach players. I know that players profiles are what build your system and build your patterns. It's about the profile of player you can use on the football pitch. And I question what we have off the bench. If you play Garnacho, Højlund and Rashford, your three most explosive players, not to say I don't rate Amer because I think he's a real talent, but they're more explosive than he is, let's be clear. What have you got off the bench? What can you go to? And when the game opens up like that and you've started to play a certain way and then Xerxes comes in, that's not his game. Sprinting in behind is just not his game. So I think that's where people are judging him today, I'll be honest. And I think it's a bit unfair.
Indiana, how did you see the game as a whole? And then we'll go to Jarvis as well. People, there's over 200 of you in here. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Channel is still shadow banned. So many people not getting the notifications, even though they subscribe to the channel and they hit the notification. So please like the video. It costs you absolutely nothing. I know the game was boring, like my guy said here, but don't punish the channel. Don't forget, like the video. Don't be boring like we've seen in the game today. There you go. Go to Indiana.
I think it lacked quality. I don't think it was boring in terms of like chances. Chelsea didn't really turn up today, let's be clear. That wasn't the best Chelsea you're going to see all season. It was there was a lot of sloppy passes all over the pitch today from both teams. I think we created some decent chances. Again, I'll go back to it. If we got a killer in the front line, we put one or two of those chances away, we have a different discussion. The football wasn't great. I think De Ligt had a pretty decent game. Maz had a great game for me. I think the team shape actually looked a lot better at times than it has done all season. Not all the time, but at times. But again, Chelsea didn't really turn up. I feel like for the opportunities that we created, I feel like it's 2 points dropped. I'll be honest with you. That's how I feel. But again, I'll make it very clear. That wasn't the best we've seen Chelsea play all season. They'll play better than that. It wasn't their best performance. But you know, when you spend that amount of money as Chelsea Football Club, you should be slapping a team that's 14th, 13th in the league. I'll be clear.
Adewale, United fans have all playing black foreign players, Martial, Pogba, Sancho, Xerxes, players like Maguire, Phil Jones, Shaw, Mount, Højlund, always giving the benefit of the doubt, and they have one thing in common. Listen, to be fair, Maguire's got it a lot. Maguire gets it a lot. So I will definitely take Maguire out of that list, right? Maguire is somebody who was getting it.
Luke Shaw gets a lot.
Yeah, Luke, but then to be fair, it's 50-50. Because there are some fans who love Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw is 50-50. But the others, I can take, definitely. There is some sort of xenophobia. There is some sort of what you're saying. There is something there. But I genuinely do think that this club is just a graveyard for players. You know what I mean? This culture is rotten at this football club. There's something rotten at the core of this football club where players can't thrive. And all that comes from the culture that the bankers have set, the Glazers have set, where it was all about money, everybody getting paid, and that's what it was about. So for me, that's what it is. But big up to you, Will, for the super chat. I appreciate you. Go ahead, Jarvis. How did you see the game? It's a bit of a switch from my point of view.
Big up, everybody, and big up to the chat and panel. I just did a match, a post-match review on the MUFC Release TV, so I'm a little bit late. For me, I think the game was as expected. It was a very even game. You know, I think both teams were very cautious. They were waiting each other out. Our press play was we played with 2 blocks of 4 all the time and just waited them out, and they did the same with us. So both teams were just waiting for the other team to make a mistake. We didn't try to create. We didn't try to do much. So yeah, but the biggest problem with today's game was the midfield battle, and you said it in the preview, Noradin, that we were going to lose the midfield battle, and we did, I would say. We have Ugarte and Casemiro, and those two guys. Ugarte only won 2 out of 12 duels in that midfield, and Casemiro won 4 out of 10. So Caicedo and Lavia totally dominated them when it came to that aspect of the game. I was hoping that Ugarte was going to be more aggressive, intercept the ball more often, but he only had 1 interception in the full 90. I think he had more when you look at the game, but stats-wise, it was only 1. So I think that was our biggest problem. What I liked today was the compactness of the team. We didn't stretch out too much. We were closer to each other when we had the ball, so there was a lot of like duels and fighting on the ball. It was almost like watching kids, 8-year-olds, in one big pile of players, and everybody trying to win the ball. But the good thing with that is you could see it with Bruno. He wasn't as wasteful on the ball because he could be creative by just playing the 5-yard pass or the 10-yard pass, not trying the 35-yard pass and lose the ball. So in a way, I think Bruno had a good game today when we played with a double pivot. So I think that's the recipe if you want to have a better Bruno, is to have 2 sitting players behind him. So yeah, because Bruno, he can't stand there and watch. He needs to come down and be a part of that duo and be a trio. So there will be a mashup in a way. So yeah, I would say today I think we would do some small tweaks. I like what I see in our defense, how we play defensively. We always sit with the back 4. Even when Dalot pushes out, when Mazraoui pushes out, when Licha pushes out, we have someone else dropping down into the 4. So we always had a 4. And sometimes even 5. So I liked what I saw. We had like a what do you call it? A push up, push and drop down in the back.
And positionally today, specifically today, one of the first games, massive notice. The positioning. If you got the heat map, the positions of Diego Dalot was a lot deeper. Deeper.
I saw that. I actually saw that, and he actually operated as a right back today. He wasn't all the way up there. He was only up there when he needed to press. He didn't press much.
Yeah, he was also, and at times actually the lit wasn't exposed, like under Erik ten Hag, where the lit was exposed on the wide areas. Because Diego Dalot was there. I mean, he took a yellow card because he dived in on Neto. I thought Neto, when he went to the left, I thought he looked like a completely different player for them. Completely different level of danger when he went to our left. Because Mazraoui was going up and he was getting a lot of space because Mazraoui was the guy that was going up and down. So tactically, I saw that we did a little bit, like he said, that there wasn't a lot of the spaces in front of Martinez and the exposure. You know what I mean? The gap. We played a bit more compact. I definitely agree with that. But up front for me is where the game is, and we got road runners, and the road runners didn't do their job today. They can't connect. They can't sustain the ball up the pitch. They can't sustain possession. And like you said, once you lose the midfield battle, then it becomes really difficult. And the thing about Amorim is that he's also midfield is quite chaotic. His build out is quite chaotic. And the midfield is quite chaotic. He actually relies on the centre halves to punch the balls through.
Yeah. And today you saw Licha, actually, he had a good game today, Martinez. I think he had 87% pass accuracy or something about that range. But that's quite high when you know that he tries to create, he tries to break the lines with his passes. He's trying to become our playmaker in a way from the deep. And I like Licha, and I think he had a good game today. And he also brings another element, because when Licha receives the ball, he doesn't stress out. You know, he gives us a little bit of pause when he has the ball. But the problem with Licha, and when he steps on the ball, and you know, he's not stressed on the pressure. Palmer tried to press him a lot of the time, but Licha he's secure on the ball. He press resistive, so he don't stress out. But the other players don't know quite what to do when Licha do this. They just stand there looking at him, and you know, like they are getting stressed out because Licha is so calm. So Licha runs out of options because the players forget how to get into position because they don't trust him to do this. They are not used to playing like this. But I think Licha will come good, extremely good when it comes to Amorim, and because he also relies on centre backs being tough enough to play out from the back and break the lines. So today Licha was one of the better players on the pitch. He was up against Palmer, and Palmer is a really good player. But I liked how he was always on him. Problem with Licha is he can get too aggressive sometimes, and he probably should have had a red card at in the 94th minute. I think he was lucky.
I thought he slipped. I really thought he slipped.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, you know. He studs hits Palmer's
That
knees.
would have been very harsh.
It should have been a red card, but you know, I'm
Jarvis,
taking...
to be fair, I don't know if you saw it, but the referee association, the guy in charge of it, said the reason why Bruno's second yellow was rescinded, the red card was rescinded, because Bruno slipped. So he took that into consideration. And if you watch it again, Martinez actually slips. His right foot gives way. And then I think, does he catch him, or his left foot gives way? And then he's reaching. And it wasn't like an impact like that. It was almost kind of like the foot's coming down. It wasn't like an impact like that, you know, to break the guy's knee or the leg. It was more of like, it was more because the way he slipped, the momentum went like that down.
In a way, I agree with what you're saying. But if it's been the other way around, let's say if it was Caicedo doing this on De Ligt, I would say, wow, why? It's a definite red card.
No. Listen, I'm trying to be fair if it was a red card, but I'm just saying to you,
I know.
Howard Webb explained why the Bruno red card was rescinded. He said if the player is trying to make an attempt for the ball and then he slips, if he doesn't go in with a lot of force, then it's not a red card. But let me just get a super chat. Big up Tariq Rashid. I love to know who you support, Tariq. But thank you so much for the super chat. This is a neutral here. Off the ball, you guys were good and compact. On the ball, shambolic performance. Big up Nuri and the rest. Yeah, big up to you, bro. I appreciate you with the super chat. Yeah, I mean, for me, I said it to you guys on the preview that there's no intensity in this game. I think we're all in this halfway house. Like, we're all waiting. Emotionally, we're waiting. But big up, Sean. How did you see the game?
I saw an intense game. I'm doing well. Big up, guys. I saw a very intense game. I was actually really impressed by what I saw from this game. I think for me, the question coming into this game was whether or not, or I guess the hypothesis was whether or not it was, you know, Ten Hag's fault that we weren't getting more out of these players, or whether the players are as bad as many fans imply. And to me, I think we've gotten an answer today that this squad can compete with some reinforcements in attack. We need to improve the quality we have up front. We need to get some injured players back. But this, to me, is a team that can compete. Because I was being told that Chelsea, you know, with Enzo Maresca and how well they're playing this season, I've been told by fans that, you know, they are the best thing basically since sliced bread, if not better, right? And this is a very good Chelsea team, a very tough Chelsea team, and informed Chelsea team by one of the better managers in the league. So for us to be able to compete, I think we match them intensity for intensity easily. We matched them in every department basically today. Aside from, you know, quality up front that they also didn't have, but we were lacking in key moments. I think the players can come away from today and Ruud feeling very proud of themselves as far as I'm concerned. I think we saw a remarkable improvement in concentration because we didn't see like the team fall off, you know, in the second half. Beginning of second half was a bit shaky, right? But I think we stabilized and took control after a while. And you know, with better players, with a better squad, with more investment in attacking players, I think this team, and I guess like a manager also, this team can compete. I know, you know, everybody would have liked to win, but I just think, you know, considering where we're coming from and where we've been this season, I think this game that I watched today, because the intensity was there. If you're talking about like energy, the intensity was there from the get-go. All the players, you know, putting a decent shift today. I saw leadership. I saw leadership from De Ligt, from Martinez. Mazraoui puts in an excellent performance, basically at left back. Casemiro puts in a shift as well. Ugarte looked good. So I mean, the issues, right, where we fell short was in, I guess, like a lack of cutting edge, right, up front. We lack that like sharpness and extra quality in attack that can be the difference between being a team that is hard to beat, as this United team looks like they are, and a team that can actually punish others. Because there's a way this game would have gone, and I think if we had won based on the chances that we had, if we had won by a 2-goal margin, I don't think anyone would come and be saying we didn't deserve, basically, to win based on that kind of outcome. But Chelsea remained in the game, and Lavia and Caicedo are, I think, two of the best midfielders in the Premier League right now. Caicedo, in particular, looks like he's finally living up to his price tag. And Chelsea are in good form. They're a more stable team. So yeah, for me, it's nothing but credits, to Rude and the team and the squad, and the signs are all positive, because all I'm taking from this game is that yes, this United team is much better than 13th place. We can compete. We can compete with the so-called better teams in the league, and with a good manager and some better players, I think we'll be right up there.
Well, pick up Indiana. Listen, you gave the most positive talk. It was a quite boring game, to be fair, what we watched. Sean, you saw a different game, but you know what? Everybody sees them different.
No, it wasn't boring.
Listen, by the way, Adewale's not calling anybody on this channel racist. If you don't like a player, you don't. You just don't like a player preference. But there are racist Manchester United fans, so let's be fucking real out here. There are racist Manchester United fans who were singling out Paul Pogba for all the doom and gloom that was happening at Man United. And that was specifically racist because of his skin color. Because you got racist fucking commentators like Steve fucking Bauer, where Pogba is in the car injured, watching fucking a video from Mecca where people are praying, and he's saying you can't be having the most expensive player on Manchester United to be doing that. I mean, what the fuck? The guy is injured. So there are people, there are xenophobes, and there are racists in this country. So let's be fucking real out here. And certain people, specifically the British press, they will always pick out the Argentina, the French guys, the guys from Italy, whatever. There's a xenophobia as well. Xenophobia. It's not just skin color. There is xenophobia to be against players who are from different country. Facts. And they will always, oh, yeah, he's a good lad. You know what I mean? Gary Neville was doing it. Even telling fucking Roy Keane on Sky Sports, don't be too hard on Maguire. But then he was all right for him to be too hard on David De Gea while he was there. So there is. We're truthful on this channel, people. We're truthful. What Adewale is saying, there's something to what Adewale is saying. Lord, Martial was one of the other guys. Oh, his body language. Yeah, who gives a fuck? Did you ask about Berbatov? Berbatov happened to be in a better team. Berbatov had that nonchalant. So then people start looking at people's body languages and saying players are lazy. That's a fucking racist trope to use against black footballers. That's a fact. So let's not pussyfoot around here and all go, oh, no, this is way. Listen, there are people who are racist. And there are people who are racist without even knowing that they're fucking being racist. Right? Go and look at it. Look at the studies. Certain things is a bias fucking confirmation. Bias. And that's the reason why in football back in the day, they would say, if you're fast and you're black. That's the 80s. If you're fast and black, get on the wing. So goalkeepers, central midfield players, centre-backs weren't fucking playing in that position. Similar in American sports as well. So we understand that. Because you have to use your brain to be able to play in the centre of midfield, centre-back. So a lot of people were not even allowed players. They were not. You just had to be a black guy who was strong, up front, can fight. That's what people wanted. Or a quick guy. That's what the thing goes. My dissertation that I did was about football and racism, my degree. Trust me, I've done the research. I've done the reading. I'm not just waffling out here. Go ahead.
I just want to say one thing to this racist debate. Yeah, no doubt there is racists in every aspect of life and countries. But when it comes to football, I think it's very dangerous bringing this into the debate, because we as pundits, chat, everybody must be able to have an opinion, even if a player is black or white or yellow or whatever color is, and not be afraid having to be called out as a racist. So we got to be very careful pushing this narrative. We need to be
open. 100%. No. Javed, I'm not saying that. Listen, I am not saying that. 120%. Footballer, whether he's black, Asian, Muslim, whatever he is, you either play good. The most beautiful thing about football is that there are certain preferences all in our heads. We've got certain preferences of certain coaches, how they play. We've got certain preferences, how we see footballers, right? Some of us like technical footballers. Some of us like players who work hard and the guys that you can take to the trenches, you know, that old school British language. Can they do it in the trenches? Can they do it on a Tuesday night in Stoke? You know, that kind of mentality of certain players. Now, for me, the biggest thing is you can criticize. You can 100% criticize players because of the performance. And that in football is clear. A player to you is either had a good game or a bad game. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And football is actually a leveler in that sense. But what I'm saying to you around the media and around the nation of certain fans to be against certain players, especially if they're foreign players in this country, it's a fact. It's a total fact. And I can give all of the fucking evidence and talk to anybody about the evidence, because even the players, they like to, because I don't know what it is, a lot of the English press. They're jealous of the players when they play for their national team, when they beat England. So then when they come and play in this league, they will always, but they will give the British guy a benefit of the doubt. And I tell you who benefits from this as well, Marcus Rashford. Now, Marcus Rashford is not a white player, but he's a black player playing in this country. But what is he? He's a local lad. He's English. He's British. So certain journalists will have a different kind of output to him than they would do to, say, a Martial or a Paul Pogba. But specifically, I'm at the stadium at times. There is a toxic racist nature at Manchester United. And as far as that is in all football clubs. It's not just Manchester United. It's within all football and the history of this fucking country. Colonization, slavery, imperialism. It's all there. This not happens in vacuum. And it's not just in football, it's in society. So I think the bigger larger thing to take advantage. But what Adewale is saying, for me, right, I think there are certain fans who at Manchester United, they just don't like, they don't like take a liking. And the way that, for example, we know 100 million % fact that Graham Souness, some of it is racial. The reason why you pick on Paul Pogba was fucking racial. But there are United fans who would agree with what he had said. Now, for me, Paul Pogba wanted to leave. 3 times he has to leave the football club. We held him fucking hostage. He wasn't good enough. He didn't fit into this. But the fact that he was here and he was kept getting the abuse. And when you got people, when I'm at the game, Sean, for fuck's sake, mute 1 second, bro. When I'm at the game and you got people running down on the top of the fucking...
I know this stuff now, where we just had a good game.
Sean, just be quiet for fuck's sake, bro. I'm making a point. When you got people running from the back of the stand...
That's completely unrelated to anything that happened today.
No, Sean. Right? When you got people coming at the back of the fucking stand, running right down to abuse only Pogba, then that's bullshit for me. There's something racial to that. Because when all United players play shit, you criticize them evenly, right? If the team is shit, you criticize it evenly. And you say, you know what, this player played well. So today, for example, nothing racial, he's North African, Mazraoui. Majority of us agree Mazraoui was Manchester United's best player on the football pitch. There you go. And that to me is what brings, and the beauty about football, actually, it brings people together and it actually breaks down prejudice. But there are certain people in society who are football fans who have a racial kind of like bias towards certain players who are European and certain players who are not European. And that happens as well. And Argentinians as well get a certain different kind of hate because of the history of Britain and Argentina. And you know all of the politics that comes into it. And that's why United fans, Jarvis, sing Argentina, Argentina. Because United fans, the history of United fans is a lot of Irish people. this area of Manchester, close to Old Trafford, is a lot of Irish people who are not made to feel like British, and they always sing against whatever. That's why you don't see massive United fan base goes to England and support England during the tournaments. You know, it's usually the smaller towns who take their banners and stuff like that. So there are all these different dynamics. There are all these different. So for me, I don't think the racism is a football thing. It's a Manchester United thing. I think it's a societal thing. It's a society, something that is society, and sometimes it can spill over, right? But it's about preferences for me. Certain people, like Adewale, are a bit insecure thinking, well, another player, who are all these players who get blamed for the downfall of Manchester United? I say the same. The Rashford and actually Bruno have been getting it for the past year and a half. So that's a fact, right? Maguire was the guy that was getting it a lot. But for me, a lot of the things where Martial was getting and Pogba was getting, for me, some of it was racial. And I was there and I saw it. I was in the stands. But who wanted to say something? Somebody else wanted to say something?
Yeah, Sean. Sean, you want to go first?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, we all agree, right? And there was no need to spend that much time on beating the point that we agree that.
No, Sean, I have to. Sean, I have to, because people are watching. You might know, but the people watching do not like that breakdown. So talk to yourself.
No, I appreciate that you feel that way. I'll just saying that, like, I think Jarvis is also correct, right? That it can be a distraction when, you know, when instead of talking about the failures of Pogba or the failures of Marshall himself, the conversation gets muddled up because, you know, we're making it about race and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. And then there was just like more for us, I think, more interesting things to talk about, like in the game today, than getting into the weeds about, like, you know, the specific.
But Sean, this is it, right? This is it, Sean. If we think that the failure of Pogba is personal, all we asking for is keep the same energy, especially when it comes to the media, right? Enzo Fernandez, for example, Enzo Fernandez was bought for 100 million and he's not performing, but he's not being attacked in the media the same way Pogba was being attacked. So all we asking for is keep the same energy. We know that the racism issue is a very sensitive issue, and sometimes the lines are very blurred. But sometimes when you sit down and you watch certain patterns, and you able to establish certain patterns.
Luwani, 1 second. Sonny, that's a yellow card. Sean is not bootlicking. He just wants to move it away from that. He's saying it's not helpful. But that's a yellow card, Sonny. That's a yellow card.
Not just that. Okay. The problem with people like Sonny, right, an inability to just hold complex thoughts together, or contradictory information in your mind at once. I'll take it a step further, right? We can point to the example of Raheem Sterling. We've seen it the way the newspaper reports on when Sterling buys a house for his mother versus when a white player spends money. We see all this, and I agree, right? So like it should be. Yeah, I don't want to address like some of the retards that I'm seeing in the comments, right? But I just feel like, you know, there are more interesting conversations basically to be had than, you know, getting into the weeds about these type of things. And, you know, just because somebody's introducing complexity into the conversation doesn't mean they're bootlicking or writing for, you know, opposing racism. And if you knew anything about me and the other type of stuff that I talk about, you wouldn't say that, but, you know, whatever is what it is.
Yeah, no, Sean, genuinely, I want to stay with you quickly. You must have seen a different game to us, because we thought the game was quite boring, bro. Honestly. Yes, we look better off the ball, more compact. The Chelsea didn't make many chances, but I thought Garnacho was really wasteful today. And I'm getting sick of his decision making. I'm not going to lie to you. You know what? He's been in the team now for 2 years or 1.5 years. In fact, what I was saying, nearly 2 years now, he's been in the team. And his decision making by now has got to fucking improve. Like, it was shocking today, aspect of his decision making.
So I mean, it wouldn't surprise you to hear that I forgive Garnacho, right? I wish it wasn't such a blank slate, but I forgive Garnacho. I think I saw an intense performance from the United team. I saw a higher tempo. I saw better decision making playing out of the back. You know, I saw real aggression, real quality from our defenders and our midfielders. Basically, some of the weakness, you know, the team is carried over from Ten Hag's tenure, so we can't score. We have problems in the final third. Some of that still exists. There's still like a kind of fragility in the squad, right? So that corner kick and the way we considered the goal to Caicedo, even though it was a good goal by Caicedo, right? You can't really. I think we should have done better there. So I think for me, it's really mostly positives. This was a tense game that I really didn't want to lose, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of confidence that we can take from what we saw today. So we know that the difference between us and the other teams is not a difference in quality. It's not a difference in player quality. I don't think it's that. I think what we lacked is a manager and the support basically from top down in pushing the team forward. But the player quality is there. I think we saw a very good performance from Bruno. He went under the radar, right? But if Bruno can work very hard, keep the ball basically ticking around, maybe Casemiro is that leader that we need, because that moment of him screaming at Garnacho, I think we need more of that. We need more players who are willing to hold the other players accountable. I think there's no way that the players in the dressing room look at somebody like Mazraoui and don't step up their game, or look at somebody like Delete, the way he's playing, and don't step up their game. So I'm a little concerned about Xerxes. I would say if that's probably the only negative that I have, I'm a little concerned about Joshua Xerxes. I know we had talked about it before, Jarvis, and I said we should give it some time, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe the lights are too bright.
Yeah, big up. Listen, I want Jarvis to come back on this. No, 100%. I'm not saying what Jarvis didn't say. No, that's what I said. The best thing about football, regardless, you're Asian, you're Muslim, you're black, you're white, whatever you are, you get judged on a performance. So your individual performance would be judged. And the fact that, nobody's saying you can't criticize black players. No. But when you overdo it and you specifically picking out, and what I'm talking about mainly in the UK, I'm talking about British racist journalists. They exist. We've got a fucking guy called Samuel Lucas. He's the chief editor of Manchester United, man. He refers to black people as exotic. Are you taking the piss? Black people are not fucking, we're not fruit. We're not fucking plant. He uses words exotic. And then when I call him out on it, then changes the fucking article. So, do you know what I mean? This exists. Like we said, the thing about Phil Foden buying his mama house, and then that was all right, but Sterling was getting picked. What I'm saying to you is that the British media indoctrinates some of the fans onto these things. But yeah, of course, the idea that you can criticize a footballer, whether he's white, black, whatever he is, you can criticize him, and you can actually dislike a player. And I will always support you, dislike whatever you want, because that's what it is. If we're all the same, if we all saw the same thing, the world will be a fucking dull place. So there are specifically certain players, certain fans don't like. They like busy players. They like players who are physical. Certain players like players who are more technical, who can do step overs and stuff like that, even though they're doing it on the halfway line and in their own half. They like that, in terms of the profile players that we like. But yeah, 100% for me, I have never heard anybody say, oh, don't criticize him because you might be racist. No, I know for 100% fact, Graham Souness is a racist prick. The way that he targeted Paul Pogba was fucking racist, and everybody knows it. And it was so bad that on Twitter, people were making memes out of it. Pogba's not even fucking at United anymore. People are like, Graham Souness doing Graham Souness memes. Oh, he didn't have a good game. He doesn't even play in the Premier League anymore. That's the kind of level it was, because it was ridiculous. It was over the top. Knowing that the player came after 2 years, 2.5 years, he was like, I want to get the fuck out of here. But we kept holding him, and he wanted to leave 3 times. He has to leave. And I think that was unfair from me, but that's the big thing. I want to get to this this question. I'll start with you, Jarvis, and then we'll go to Bombaye and then Lesso and then Luane. Is Bruno getting a message on the route? I think you might have alluded to it.
Yeah, but I talked about it a little bit about the shape and how compact we were all the time, but I think it came to the press play and both teams just waiting out the other one to make mistakes. But I think Bruno has improved this game massively. You see he has more confidence, but he doesn't try the through balls all the time. And when he do it right. He do the right timing of it. And I think he tries his short play in a much higher amount. So I'm happy with what Bruno do. He finds himself closer to the players and is not forced to make the Hollywood pass to be creative. He can make a 5-yard pass and be creative and pass and move. So yeah, I agree. I think Ruud is maybe onto something. But also what I'm seeing is a double pivot with Bruno in front of it. It gives Bruno more options. He's not crowded. He's not forced to push up in one side, be the right side at number 10 or the left side at number 10. He's free to roam wherever he likes. So I see we utilize Bruno in a much better way, but I don't think it will be this way when we play with Amorim, because he plays with 2 number 10s, one right-sided and one left-sided. So Bruno will be back to the same Bruno we had under Ten Hag. So I think Bruno, this will just be a glimpse in form, and he will fall back into his old self when Amorim comes back, because he's forced to play under a structure and be tactically disciplined. And that's one of Bruno's biggest problems. He just needs 2 number 6 behind him so he can do whatever he likes. But I like what I saw from the team today. As I mentioned, the press structure. I can show you this quick on the tactical board.
I thought at times he was woeful. At times he was really bad. The pressing structure. At times he was still Bruno doing the headless chicken one, and they were playing out really easy. Yes, I thought that we won the ball. I thought Casemiro made really couple of good interceptions, but I did think that at times the press was still shadow pressing, still with Rashford lackadaisical, that kind of the way we were.
Yeah, but the thing is, when we try to play out, Chelsea didn't press us. They just sat with the 2 blocks, almost like this. They created the square here in the middle, the square with the center backs and the DMs. The wingers were cutting in and just waiting. So we didn't have many options. We couldn't play out from the back in the way we wanted. So it ended with Onana trying it to Højlund or Garnacho, or it ended with Martinez trying to cut the lines and play it to Garnacho. But all the time they were facing the wrong way. So it was very hard for us. Sometimes we managed to play through them. We did the same when Chelsea had the ball. We basically sat, we had a high line in a way, but we weren't pressing. We were just waiting them out. So you could see us in a shape most likely like this, and even Casemiro dropping down and make it a back 5 like this. And Rashford cutting in, Garnacho cutting in, Bruno cutting in, and Højlund like here. And if you see, for example, I will show you this picture. This is
Jarvis, I thought Højlund and Bruno kind of pressed together, right? As like a 4-2.
I think Bruno was more on the line of Garnacho and Rashford, and Højlund was in front of them. So this is, for example, a picture when you see Chelsea. We are just waiting them out. There's no activities in the press play. You see the players are walking, but you see our back line. You have Casemiro down here. You have Ugarte here. Our center backs. So you see even our DMs is dropping down on the line with the center backs, and you see they are here. I think it's Masraoui sniffing out the long ball that's coming, because that's the next phase of play. But we were very passive in our press play, I would say, and we almost had a back 5 sometimes. So in a way, it was interesting to see what I mentioned. When I talked about the structure in the back was we had the back 4. Let's say we have a back 4 like this. I don't know if you guys can see this, but let's say if Chelsea pressed on one side, let's say they fullbacks have the ball here. Dalot pushed up with Rashford. De Ligt pushed to the right, Martinez, and one of the center backs dropped down. So we were always in this area. You can see here, always 4. So we had a solid back 4 structure all the time. Even though if Dalot pushed up or the ball was on the other side, Masraoui pushed up, Martinez was suddenly the left back, and one of the DMs dropped down. So we had the back 4. So the defensive structure was very good, I would say. So it was hard for Chelsea to break us down because of this. And it wasn't all just the fullbacks was jumping up, but sometimes if the Ligt was aggressive, Casemiro dropped down, and so we had like
The majority, especially on that left wing, I thought we were good in the press. I thought Mazraoui, on that left side, really recovered the ball a couple of times. Well, they were able to force like Chelsea into mistakes. They were able to force Chelsea players into kicking the ball out or to going long, and then I think we did well also on those like second balls. So even when Onana went long, at least when the Chelsea player headed it, Casemiro got there first, or Ugarte got there first, or Højlund got there first, basically.
I think Højlund was brilliant today in his hold
of
play. Højlund won, I would say, 6 out of 12 duels, according to the stats. He got 5 free kicks. He should have had more free kicks, because I think Fofana was a little bit too reckless on Højlund, but the referee Rob Jones didn't give it to Højlund. I don't know why. But Højlund was good today, and the problem with Højlund, he was our only outlet. When we played it long, here's the ball.
I thought today was really noticeable. I don't know about you guys. The amount of times the amount of times that the Ligt specifically and at times Lisandro hit the ball long. And the goalkeeper as well, Onana. I don't like Onana takes his time. I really think it kills momentum. And at times, I thought the passing was woeful, especially in the first half. We couldn't keep the ball. Bruno was losing the ball too easily. Casemiro was guilty. So was Ugarte, to be fair. At times, it was guilt all. This is the question. Big up to Windy. Windy says, didn't Tanat play the same way as he did at Ajax? Well, because he refused to play that. He didn't want to play that football that he played at Ajax. Why are we so sure that Amorim won't change as well? Listen, 100%. 100%. That's why it's a risk. It's a massive risk for me. It's a huge risk. Amorim is a huge risk. We're not getting away from it from here. But I'll go to Letso and then Luani and then Bumbaye. Actually, I'll go to Bumbaye then Luani. Go ahead, Bumbaye. In terms of if you're watching this today as Amorim, what are you seeing?
Got a lot of work to do.
You know what, by the way, he's only got 2.5 years, by the way. Did you notice the length of contract, people? 2.5 years he's got.
It's good length of contract. It's good length of contract because you have to earn the next one. That's what Manchester United should be. This was what Becks and Scholes were interviewed, and they said Fergie would give us 2 years. You do well, you earn the next one. Now it's all, you start off with an A and it's yours to lose as opposed to having to work to get one. For me, man, about Bruno, you're asking, yeah? He's, to me, a great player. I just love this player. I think anything class that Manchester United put together comes from him. He needs the least amount of touches. He's the only one that can take the ball in a pocket, turn and get us playing. It's not been going well, I think, for an extended period of time, him and Rashford. But like I say, we just ended up stagnating quite a bit. We're 15 games into a season. I wouldn't go back and do it differently. I'd have still wanted Ten Hag to have his crack with new players and the full team. And I feel 15 games is fine, but I feel that the players, man, sometimes it just don't work for you, And Bruno never, ever, ever shirked, or you can't accuse him. He doesn't try. He doesn't put a shift in. He's everywhere. And I feel as a captain, I've always felt he is the natural captain of the squad, of the team. And I think we've got the perfect choice. I wouldn't put Licha as captain. You could put Casemiro, but Bruno for me is the captain. He's not a Roy Keane type. Not everybody's a Roy Keane type. He's different. And when you took me to the game at Brentford, you notice a lot of things you don't see on TV. The motivation that he gives to the players, the words he's having with the players, the shit he's doing to conduct and orchestrate things. Keep going. It's all right. Good effort. That's the kind of captain he is. And he does lead by example. But this team, man, has a captain that wants to take it on himself to be the difference, to make the difference. And sometimes that's a bridge too far and you start losing the ball and he loses his head. And I understand that because I'm the same at football. I'm not Roy Keane. I don't like that type of person sometimes. You just destroy the player's confidence and you keep on him. I'm a motivator. Come on, let's do it. But in the end, I also, when I blow up, it's nasty. So he has those moments because this team is frustrating. You know, even today with Garnacho, you're watching the game. You know, Bruno could let loose on him, but he'll start crying his eyes out like being a little mardas, Garnacho. But that's not what Bruno is. He hangs on in there with them, with them. I want Amorim to come in because I am somebody that believes Bruno is a top-class player. Top-class player, seriously. We could get into most teams. But this team, its functionality is killing players. Do you know what I mean? It's killing players, and it has been for a while. Wendy said something weeks ago that stuck in my mind. Do the players believe in what he wants them to do? Are they buying into it? Do they look at him as a general and think, yeah, we want to die for this guy. We want to play for this guy. If it's not there, man, then you just, you know, rolling with punches until something changes. You want it to change, but it's just not. It's just not. So Amorim coming in, I hope, like I said in the preview to this game, it will yield something different from some of these players. You know, I hope he can improve players with the way that he wants to play. Good manager looks at what he has, what has been left to him, and he sees what can I utilize here. Everything, he's resourceful, a good manager. He'll look at this team and think, right, this is what I can do with these players. Vinny was right before he got off from this thread. One thing Man United have got in midfield is so much variety. You want a destroyer, we've got one. You want a ball player, we've got two. You want a creative player, we've got Bruno. You want worker bees, we've got worker bees. You've got 5-6 midfielders there, man, that you can put together in a trio and make something magical. But we're just not finding any recipes in this team, and that's what's killing us, you know. Or the players are all shit. We will find out with this new manager. So it's exciting for me that we're gonna have a change, man. You know, I'm tired, and today to me just felt a bit more like laboured game. But today there was no pressure. I could just take this at entertainment value. Manager's gone. I know Rude's chilling now. He's doing his thing. It was a decent draw. We're worth our point. But Bruno for me, guys, is his first name on the team sheet, man. He's a class player.
I totally disagree with you, but
I know you do.
Your opinion. Totally. We see it differently. Go ahead, Lesso, and then Luwani. No, Luwani and then Lesso. Go ahead, Luwani. People, please like the video, people. Like the video. Subscribe to the fucking channel. Come on, people. What are you doing?
So, Bombay, when it comes to Bruno, this is when me and you go on opposite sides. Right?
I'm already getting from all sides, bro.
I really never rated him, but I have my own reason. But he does have a function. The issues that I have, even today, under pressure in some instances, he was still booting the ball to Chelsea. Sometimes we can sit down and talk about the merit of the thing he brings to the team. But unfortunately, to the level that we're trying to get to, I don't think he's good enough to bring us there. I would like us to try to stay away as far as possible from exciting players and be a little bit more on the side of players that give you a reassuring performance. When I think of Bruno, I think of chaos. There's a lot of chaos going on. And when you're trying to compete for top four, you need a certain level of consistency from your players. And when you're trying to go one level upper, like challenge for the title, you almost need perfection. And I don't see Bruno getting us there. Today, watching him, yes, he does something where he excites us, but we cannot control a game when he's playing in that midfield. We cannot control a game at all. And I wish we could play with a different profile of midfielder, but he's what we have right now, and that's what we're dealing with. As to the game in general, it's almost as if I watch a different game. I will not go as far as to give us that much credit today. It's more of Chelsea being very bad. Yes, we set up structurally very well. When they got the ball, they couldn't play through us. But we set up in the mid block, right? So being set up in the mid block, there are two DM, Calcedo and Lavia were still getting a lot of the ball, and they were still playing through us. But their problem came in the final third, where they couldn't, in their final phase of play, where their wingers were wasted. I mean, Neto was not successful on the left, and the other guy, Madueke, was trashed today. Even though the Maresca set up in such a way that he have Gusto was the one that was freed up because they were playing with 3 center back. Gusto was in a lot of space, but they couldn't find him at all. That's why at halftime he brought in Cucurella for that. So I'm not trying to look. I'm not taking anything from this game other than we were structurally, we defended very well, but that's to be expected because we are home. We just not going to let them run through us. But I think we're giving too much credit for this Chelsea team. You know, they inexperienced. I think they still feeling themselves. They're still looking for themselves. They're still growing as a team. Their backline was making mistake. They have a Bozo as a keeper, and that's why we got a penalty today. And long term, I'm looking at our team, and I think we have glaring issues in our final four and glaring issue in our first phase of play. We play with 2 DM today, Casemiro and Ugarte, right? And when one goes, the other one stay. And they keep tagging out. One goes and the other one stay. My question is, if we're playing with 2 DMs and we're saying Ugarte, are we going to accept him for what he is? He's a midfielder and he gives us leg. The last time I checked, if you want to be a DM, at least in the Premier, you need to have at least a minimum of 3 qualities, right? You need to be able to play, to be able to receive the ball on the half turn. You need to have leg, and at least you need to be competent on the ball at a certain level. But we cannot do with 1 out of 3 quality. You bring us leg, and that's it. I swear Fred is more competent than him. Or we used to have Ander Herrera, who's at least better on the ball to a certain extent. So for me, Ugarte is not an upgrade. On Fred, he's not an upgrade on what we used to have. We need a better quality than that. Because if he stay and Casemiro goes and he's the one receiving the ball from our center back, he needs to be able to receive the ball under pressure and play between the line. He can't do that. So
yeah,
we need to think.
Yeah, big up. Go ahead,
good operation.
Yeah, go ahead.
Obviously, judging from today.
Okay. Oh, no, it's gone.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Okay. Yeah, you'll be back. Judging from today's game, I mean, it's that simple. You know, we need a lot of quality. It's clear. We need coaching. We just need the basics. I said that we need to go back to the basics. We still can't do the basics right. You can see that we're not that comfortable on the ball. There's no structure in what we're trying to do. It's basically vibes, you know, and we can't function like that, you know, in a full season. So, you know, the managerial appointment is very vital with these assistants and everyone going forward. And, you know, in the next coming years, that this will either define or break us. You know, that's just the obvious. It's gonna either break or define us. So Amorim, when he comes in, it's simple. He needs to stick to what he needs to do. And I'm of this thing that a manager doesn't have to do exactly what he did in the previous league. He needs to where he needs to alter his the way he plays. He needs to do it, because you look at Klopp. Klopp didn't play the same way he played at Dortmund at Liverpool. His game, he altered it so much in the because he saw how the league was. And it's the same with Pep. They've slightly altered their games. If you watch how they played at Dortmund, for example, Klopp, how he played at Dortmund, as opposed to how he played at Liverpool, completely different. Pep is the same way. You look how he played at Bayern Munich and he played at Man City, completely different. You adapt to the league that you go to. If you see that whatever that you're doing isn't going to work long term, it may just get you over the line in the first year or so, but you need to always upgrade it. You always have to be open to changing the way you play. That's just football in natural fact. You look at Sir Alex Ferguson, doesn't play the same way he played in 93, 94, as opposed to the way he played in 20. He always changed his technical teams. He always refreshed them for new ideas. So this thing has always existed in football. Football changes right in front of our eyes. Every day we come up with, we see new tactics. We see a way of pressing. We see a different way and how teams actually position themselves off the ball. So it's just common sense at the end of the day. Like, it's something we should not really be sitting down and actually discussing. And that's how it is. It's the evolution of football. So I want a manager who's going to be essentially not gonna sit here and do what he does, what he did at another league, and stick to it no matter what. I want him to be able to adapt his style. I'm not saying necessarily change his philosophy, because it does not entail you changing your entire philosophy.
Yeah.
It just means that you need to make alterations to your philosophy. And that's the only way you can readjust yourself and actually last longer in the game. And Ancelotti as well, when you look at the way he sets up his team and the way he plays, it's not the same as he did when he was here in the Premier League with Chelsea. This is the thing. Like, these are the things I look for in qualities of managers. I look for those things because I saw them with the men that we had. I saw him constantly reinvent himself with the coaching stuff and new ideas that he actually brought into his around his technical stuff. So yeah, like going forward, that's what I would like to see from the football club. Personally, I also think that we should have, we could have nicked 3 points. Chelsea were kind of off today as well. Overall,
to be honest with you, I thought that we made the chances. Big up, Sean, before you come in. Big up, Lester. I thought you made valid points. Yeah, the thing's going to be very interesting for me in terms of Amorim, how much, because he's not changed his style. I know that he likes diamond shape everywhere. So everywhere you see on the football pitch, there's diamond. The players are always in a diamond. So there's options for the ball. For me, I'm going to judge him how well we fucking pass the ball to each other and how well we play out and how well we sustain the possession of the pitch. But of course, he's going to need time. So I'm not even judging him for this season. I'm going to judge him towards the end of next season to see where his game plan is. Big up, Graham Sooner says, what are you on about, Nura? I love Pogba. Go ahead, Sean.
I just want to say that, like, it's unfortunate that one of the tragedies of this Ten Hag era is that now United fans have absolutely no faith or confidence in their team. So that whenever we play well against any team,
I don't genuinely think it's about Ten Hag. Sean, let me just stop you there. I think Joe said
it's unfortunate.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, David Moyes.
No, but this particular thing, I think, is a feature of the post Ten Hag era, where whenever we play well against a team, it must be that team had a bad day. It can never be that United were good on the day. It must be that suddenly it was an off day for the Chelsea team. I don't agree that Madueke had an off day or that Chelsea were bad. We took that shit from them, right? We were first to the second balls. Mazraoui didn't allow their attacker to breathe, basically. Martinez was on top of everything. Dalot had an uncharacteristically good day today, right? He was decent today on out of possession. We didn't get punished for some of Casemiro's mistakes because in some other ways he was really good, right? For the bad passing that we saw from Ogate every now and then, he was also really effective winning the ball back and putting pressure on Chelsea players. So it wasn't that like they were bad today. No, they came up against a very determined, very hardworking United team today. And I'm saying that's, for me, the good thing that the new manager coming in can be watching and can take from this team today, that, okay, I have a solid foundation, right? So we can we can price in some bluntness in our attack. We can assume that for the next year or so, we're going to have trouble scoring goals, right? Because our attackers are still kind of young, and it's going to be difficult for us to find value in the market, right? When it comes to high goal scorers in attack, so left wing, right wing, and up front. So we're going to need the guys that we have to develop the skills that we're looking for, and that might take some time. So that's something that I'm willing to accept. That, like, for now, the next step for us to take is to become a very difficult team to beat, a solid team, basically in and out of possession. A lot of what we saw today, and the goals and all that kind of stuff is something we can work on as a team in a whole, or we can sign, players after the team has developed like to a certain extent. But I just want to encourage people to not put it on Chelsea's mistake or failure today. No, the team that
I'm
you
not gonna
support
lie to
today
you, Sean.
played
I'm not
well.
gonna lie to
Our
you.
players, Martinez,
I thought their front three
Mazraoui,
didn't connect as much.
Onana, Ugarte, Casemiro, they cannot be proud of themselves, right? And I want that to be the takeaway. Not that, oh, Chelsea had a bad day. No. The players that we have, they stood up and they were counted, and they can compete. They can compete with the best players, so-called, quote unquote, in this league. That's the lesson that I'm taking from this game. That's what I saw.
I thought Palmer was non-existent today for them. I thought he had a poor game, and I thought
he was marked. He was marked out of
But I thought their passing was a lot to be decided. I thought they were giving the ball away
because they were under pressure by our players. Because they were put under pressure by our players.
Nah, some of them
got into good positions quickly.
Sure, I watched the game, bro. Some of them, yes.
Too.
Listen to me. Some of them, yes, but not all of them. Sometimes they were just lackadaisical passing from on their side.
Can I respond, Sean? The reason why I'm bringing up that is because before you start your argument, you say that Chelsea is being gassed to be one of those best team in the league and this and that. But the reality is that every fan can get up and gas their team into what they or they're not, right? But Chelsea is a young team. They have a back line that is not that's full of young players and they're not experienced. This is trying to find some cohesion between themselves. And we know they have a new coach. If you've been watching them since the beginning of the season, we know they've been winning game based on the sheer brilliance of Cole Palmer, or that Jackson is the player in form for them. I'm not trying to give us credit for giving the bare minimum. We're playing at home in front of our crowd, a potential top 4 opposition. That's the bare minimum for us to show up, to cover the space, and to track them down. I'm not going to sit down. I'm not trying to take our game in isolation. I'm looking forward to where we're trying to reach in terms of
it's the other way around. It's the other way around, right? I think when you say it's bare minimum, that to me is taking this game in isolation. When you classify this performance we saw today as bare minimum, that's taking this game in isolation. Because if you're taking it in context, then some of the context you're giving for Chelsea, a lot more context applies to this United team coming into the game today, talking about being a young team, talking about players who need to gel together, talking about a new manager. All of that stuff applies to us times 7, basically, right? So if you want to take this game in isolation, then sure, United on paper, Chelsea on paper, Old Trafford, bare minimum is what we got today. But if you want to take it in context, then I think you can't but say that the good vibes are still rolling, basically, post Ten Hag's sack. Right? To me, the good vibes are still rolling. This is an improvement on the performance we saw against Leicester. This is probably, to me, the best, most competitive performance that I've seen from this team all season, because it looked like we were in it from the beginning to the end, right? It wasn't that we had a good first half and a shitty second half, or the other way around. We were in this game from start to finish, right? And we conceded to a wonder goal from a £115 million midfielders. Chelsea's midfield basically was almost 300 at some point when it was Lavia, Caicedo, and Enzo Fernandez. It's about 300 million.
They considered to a penalty.
Let me just get a super chat. Let me just get a super chat. Big up Adewale says, you could not give what you don't have. United, it's not a developing club. Sure, it's talking rubbish. If you're not good enough, go on loan and somewhere else. We need better quality, simple as. No, definitely. I think we need better quality. And we can develop. Manchester United is a football club where we develop young players, but we develop them in the right way. And in the last couple of years, the way we've been developing them is really bad.
No, all right, but am I wrong though, guys?
We need 50
am I
more
wrong
likes.
to say that, like, am I wrong to say that, like, we should expect to struggle with scoring goals in the near term? No,
you're right.
Are we asking that we should all be demanding, like, am I wrong to set that expectation from the get-go that given the players that we have, right, even no matter what kind of improvements we get from Amorim, in the short term, chances are we would still struggle with scoring some goals? I mean, I don't know what.
No, listen, we're shocking, to be fair. I think the Roadrunners is really difficult. It's really difficult. I think nobody's coaching them properly. I genuinely believe that. I really believe that nobody's coaching them. But guys, we can be here all day.
Night. Before you go, Sil's watching and so is Sol.
Yeah, big up to Sil and Sol. Big up to them both.
Hola, guys.
Yeah, big up to everybody. Love and light. We say free Palestine, free Lebanon, free Haiti, free Congo, free Sudan, free Tigray, Ogaden, free anywhere where people are oppressed people. So we stand in total solidarity with everyone and love people who watch this video later. What is Amorim thinking after watching that today? Yes, I did see the improvement. We played a bit more compact off the ball. I thought we were a little bit more compact. Yes, at times we stopped them from playing, but at times their willful passing was bad. That's why the quality of the game was quite low, because both sides were not connecting in terms of their passing in the last third. But yeah, at the end of the day, I didn't even have that intensity or that nervousness. You feel. Do you know what I mean? The nervousness, the big game, Big Six game, original 6 game or top 4 game, Chelsea United. By the way, it is the most drawn game in the Premier League. And top flight English football. It's the most draws. So I predicted 2-2. It was 4-1. I definitely did say it was a score draw. But yeah, it was an interesting game. Like I said, we're all waiting for Amorim now. The next 2 games, good luck to Ruud. I don't think Ruud should be part of his Amorim's thing. I think Amorim needs to bring his own guys in. He doesn't need to be looking over his shoulder. And I believe he should have the people he trusts. And we need to back and give Amorim everything that he needs. But it's going to be very interesting to see what players that make it into this team. But go ahead, Jarvis.
Yeah, I just want to ask the panel one last question before we wrap the show up. Yet again, we lost the lead after being up 1-0. We have been leading the games 1-0, 2-0, and we have been losing the leads. So what can Amorim do to make this team more resilient, more mental strong when we go up 1-0, 2-0, and how can we be able to protect the lead?
Well, from the videos I watched the other day, when I went down the rabbit hole, I saw that in games where he's winning and the other team's getting on top, you know what he does? He plays the back 5. They drop Brady. He goes, but you know what? He does a Jose. He does a low block. Everybody fights for the ball.
I think do you know what Jarvis is asking is, I think what you're asking, Jarvis, is this team is weak.
Yeah,
mentally.
It's a mental thing.
Yes.
It's not about what he can do to continue to shut the game out and stuff. The team is weak-minded. It collapses. It folds under pressure when Manchester United should never fold under pressure, man. We didn't used to fold under pressure. And how does a manager adjust that? I think what a manager, there's no recipe. You can't buy yet something that makes you have mentality. That's something that you have to build. And how you build that, I think, first, the players have to believe in what you are telling them. And what you are telling them has to start yielding something tangible. Like, we're going to play this way and this is how we're going to win the game. It materializes. You start to build that trust with the manager. As individuals, you start to improve your players. Everybody has tailored commitments, man, tailored expectations. And as this stuff starts to culminate, it's all about trust, man, in the manager and belief. And then when you start to win games and stuff regular, it's like Wenger said, a beautiful quote. He says, you lose a game, no problem. You lose 2 in a row, cause for concern. As soon as you lose the 3rd game in a row, you are literally in a crisis. You are in a crisis, and now you have to break that cycle quickly. As you start to win games, and things start to materialize on the pitch, you start to increase in stature, in confidence, in unity. And this is what all the things that culminate that belief. We're going to fucking shut them out. You know what I mean? We're going to come out and blow them away second half. And obviously, you have to have a plan that actually works. You have to play to the strength of the players that you have. There's no point in playing a high line with Harry Maguire as an example. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. These
I mean,
things, man, are built over a long period of time and a lot of work that is going in the right direction. You cannot just buy that. That there is what went with Sir Alex Ferguson and David Gill. And all of a sudden, when you got rid of Vidic and Rio and Evra and everybody went in one go, there was Rooney and Carrick left and all new players, new culture. And as it's gone on, it's just gotten worse and it's just disappeared. And you have to rebuild that. And that's the greatness of Klopp. Klopp brought that back to Liverpool now, and Slot is benefiting from it. He's good, doing well, but he's come into somewhere where we don't lose games here. We challenge for the league every year. We go Champions League. And they weren't that team before Klopp. They were a top 4, top 6 team, Liverpool. And that's how I think you build it. And that's what's been missing, really. Either managers' tenures have been cut short for various reasons I don't want to get into, each manager. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, Sean. But hopefully Amorim, man, will be the one. We will see.
What I wanted to say about what Amorim can do and to fix the issue that we have in conceding goals after scoring. I believe he can start by not turning the football game into a basketball game. If he can come and give us more control, because football is a game of momentum. If you turn into a basketball game, it's opportunity for opportunity. Of course, they can come back and equalize. It's not. I don't go as far as the route of the mentality thing, but as long as he can give us control, a little bit more control, I think we will be fine. The one thing I'm worried about is the way I see this team. He's gonna have to do a wholesale change to the personnel. I'm serious because I still don't think we have players in key areas that are Premier League level players, despite their experience in playing Premier League. Now, is the board going to back him with money, and are they going to back him to shift out the players that are surplus to his requirement, even if they fan favorite? That's what I'm going to be looking for.
No,
I
firmly agree.
the question. Oh, go ahead, Leslie. Sorry.
Yeah, I firmly agree. But you see now the thing is with the finances. This is what I wanted to get into. We have to make Champions League, people. Right now we're in the red line in terms of the financial fair play. This is why I wanted to. I don't like the Europa League for all reasons under the sun, because I believe that this club should not even be there to begin with. In terms of the standards that we have set for them. We have to qualify for the Champions League. If we don't, trust in me, it's gonna be a very rough summer, very rough one, because yeah.
Can I just say one thing, just based exactly on what you said? We're on the red line with money, and based on what Luani said, I don't think Ineos have brought in a manager before he's looked at the team and thought, nah, I'm happy with what I've got. I'll need a couple, but I believe I can do something with this. I don't think a manager's coming in and they're saying this is going to get overhauled. We're not going to be able to do that. Whatever's coming in is confident that they can make something out of what we have. We'll get you one or two, but we're not overhauling. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think, I actually agree with that. It's never going to be an overhaul thing because, in the way they function anyways, it's about you as a manager coming in and having to be able to coach what they bring in. So in essence, that's why they've actually brought in a style of play. To say that every manager that walks in here has to deal with the type of, in terms of the signings that we make have to meet the identity of they have to meet the identity of the style of play that we're actually going to usher in, in the ownership as well. So in this essence, I don't see us splurging a lot in the summer. If we don't make in terms of Champions League, I only see us making 2 or 3 signings max, as a result of us trying to keep this whole thing where we're trying to keep within FFP. And so that is why it's vital to actually, for us to actually win this competition, whether we like it or not. We're not.
Is it just me that's having a hard time hearing this?
Yeah. I think he's dropping. I think we missed that. Go ahead. He dropped for a bit, but go ahead.
Jarvis, can you? Okay. Yeah. It was just network problem. I think what we're gonna do, it's simple. We're gonna try and qualify for this Champions League thing, where we're gonna use the financial aspect of it to try and rebuild somewhat of the squad, get rid of some players. But you look at Man United, funny enough, I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but we've been linked with a lot of Sporting players before Amorim came in.
Yep.
I think everyone has seen that. So it's not a coincidence that they've actually been looking at it considerably as an option going forward. So it's not a rumor, it's not a conspiracy theory. So for me, we're clearly looking at and you look at Amorim. I've realized another thing. He likes I'd say he's a guy that likes, in his first season or two, he's a person that goes for more of the safer approach. He is actually more attack and defensive. Like he learns how to balance the two straight off the bat. He's not gonna do what a Klopp did when he walked into Liverpool, where it was just entertaining, all out attacking football, and he was trying to get as many goals, outscore the opposition, so and so and so. No defensive capabilities, no balance between attack and defensive side of things. I think he's a manager. When I looked at his journey from Sporting, in his first two seasons, he focused more on balancing the attack and the defense. So I think what he's gonna do, he's gonna realize obviously that we conceded goals a lot. He's gonna try and tighten up that straight from the bat. He's gonna try and tighten up our defense. He's gonna try and actually as well try and get the balance right with the attack and defense. So he's going to try and get us goals at the same time, try and defend goals. So there's instances where we may even try to win games, even 1-0. We've never won a game having scored 1 goal in the longest time. I can't remember the last time we won that. So he's going to look at that first. He's going to tighten up the defense because we're leaking goals for fun. And from there onwards, I think once we've got grips with the defensive side of things, he may now try and play more expensive going forward. Because you look at Sporting this season, they play more expensive than they did the previous season. They were more cautious the previous season as opposed to this season. So I think that's the right approach to go, personally, because if you're looking at our situation right now, I mean, it's that way of playing, we need to seal up the back. The same way Van Gaal, if you look at it, as soon as we let the goals, we considered goals against Leicester City. As soon as we considered goals against Leicester City in that 5-3 win that they did, he reverted back to going back to the basics of us being solid at the back and then build up from that. So
listen, it's going to be very interesting. On the whole, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
I wanted to bring up an important point. I wanted to cut bullshit on Ineos. They need to stop over-promising, overselling us the project. I rather they on the promise and over delivered.
What have they over promised now?
Because promising us a title by 2028 by Omar Borada, I think the metrics that allow us to get to a title are way beyond his control, right? It's like me being a trucker and saying, hey, I'm going to make 90% profit on my business by 2028.
No, it's title by 2028. Is it that far-fetched? A title by 2028.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
That's the norm, but I know we're a PR club, but that's so over promising as far as I'm concerned, because we're not the only team competing for the title. There are other teams that are competing for the title, and they're way far ahead than us. What I would like to hear from them is at least say, hey, you know what, we're going to improve the team, and we're going to back the manager. And over promising sound to me like they catering to us fans, and they know that we like gobbling off those kind of stuff, and they need to stop.
I don't know.
Looking at it.
I think implicit in a promise to win the title by 2028, 4 years from now, is also a promise to back the manager and support the team in the years between now and then. Right. I know for some reason it's controversial to say, but I actually think Amorim is inheriting a much better side than Ten Hag did. Right. So I think some work has been done in the squad and on the pitch already, basically for a new manager. And what I'll be looking for from this new manager, basically, right, seems kind of basic. But number one, every player who is playing should deserve to be playing. So any 11 you put out, the person you selected to be there to be playing based on merit. That's the first simple basic request I have of any new manager at United. Second thing is that keep the players honest, right? So let that be basically integrity. Anyone knows that okay, we all have our role in the team, and everyone who is playing, anyone who gets substituted, anyone who gets benched or dropped or whatever. So if Bruno is out of form, we're not going to see him playing him because he believes in him. Or if he signs somebody from Sporting and they're not delivering, we're not going to see them playing a 15-game stretch, right? Because it's his player or something, or his favorite. Keep the players honest. And the last thing is get them to believe in you, basically. So make the hard calls. That X factor that basically we can't price or that nobody can define. The question that Jarvis is asking, if any one of us has the answer, we should get on a plane right now and go straight to Old Trafford, because that would help. That would help the team. That mentality thing, I think, is our new manager's most important, single-handedly, his most important task is to get the mental aspect of these players right. The thing that is hanging over everybody's neck, the legacy basically of Sir Alex Ferguson's United, that mentality gap, the only way that it can be fixed is by bringing in a manager who walks the talk, basically. Talk your shit, be confident, and then back it up with your actions. Let the players see that, you're striving for excellence and they are being held to that standard as well. So no favoritism, regardless of whatever.
Well, we'll see, Sean.
Etc. Yeah.
We will see. All will be revealed. Strap in, people. Strap in. Get the seatbelts on. It's all good. If we're still all alive. Thank you. Blessing the Creator. If we're all still alive.
Either strap in or strap on.
Paint us a reality. Paint us a reality.
Hey, excuse me. This is a family channel. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Mr. F-bombs. Mr. Bloody F-bombs.
No.
I just want to add that there's a possibility that we don't
Man, we've been walking with a severe limp for the last decade. We're used to it.
I'm pulling the hamstring out here.
Quickly, end the channel, man. End the show.
Listen, big up to everybody. Marwan Luwani, make sure you check him out. Jarvis Bowley, 77, Jarvis Cocker, man like Rick Astley. Big up to Rick Astley. He's never going to give United
Never going to give you up.
Yeah. Sean Thomas, make sure you check out tomorrow night. One of the best shows on YouTube, actually. 2 hours of really fascinating insight into the game. It'll be with Jarvis, Stu, Tom. I don't know if he's back yet or Mbappe, but yeah. big up to him. Big up to Tom out there and somewhere in Sri Lanka having an
And
amazing
by the
time.
way, before you, I just want to bring this up. Our
of
guy,
course, this is our guy. This is our guy.
Andoni Iraola, his 3 last games. Look at him. You know, it's not a coincidence. I wanted him to be our next manager, but you know that's a far-fetched.
He should be the guy. He should be the guy. There you go. There you go. Beat City comfortably. They had more chances in the first half and towards the second half than towards the end. City missed sitters, but before that they outplayed them.
Tavernier missed.
Say that again.
You see what Tavernier missed? He should have buried that, man. Should have been 3.
Yeah, big up, like I said to everybody. Let's Soul Football TV at Black Rain on Twitter, at Marwan Luani on Twitter, Bumbaye, never see him on social media, at Sean Thomas, and then go and check out the geopolitical podcast, How We See Things. Jarvis Bowley tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. A banger of a show, 2-hour show, 9 o'clock, Man UFC Realist TV. And then those of us who want my little opinions on Twitter, there I am, that guy Red Devil. But listen, big up to everybody. Love and like. Nearly 2 hours of content there for you. I just beg you to smash a like on the video. Still shadow ban because we shout about imperialism. We shout about resisting imperialism, colonization, and militarism. We stand with everybody who's being oppressed and who's standing up to the oppressors. Free fucking Palestine and Lebanon, Haiti, Sudan, Tigray, Ogaden, everywhere where people are oppressed. Love and light, people. Peace.
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 Peace out, guys.